everybody.
Good morning.
Time to wake up.
Yes.
It's been too mellow for me. I like mellow too. Mellow's beautiful, but I once read a book filled with advice on how to give a really good sermon. Okay? And one of the points said that a really good sermon is like a really good sandwich. And to be a really good sandwich, you must have two ends made out of rich, succulent, robust bread, gluten-free or gluten. That's like an oxymoron, right? Robust, rich, gluten-free bread. But anyway, let me get back. So gluten-free and a really good filling in it, a nice, wonderful filling, right in the middle of the whole thing. However, unlike a really good sandwich, the two ends of a really good sermon should be as close together as possible, right? You don't want to be here all day. And today, I know, today we're doing, after the offertory blessing, we're going to be doing a rose ceremony. So I don't want this to be a really long talk, and I jumped around from last month to this month, and you'll see why. We're going back to the luck theme of March, and the reason why I skipped a week and went into the brilliance and the 4 C's of a diamond last week was because that was really long. That went 33 minutes. Because I upload them on YouTube, I know. So this one is a little shorter. So I want to get it shorter so we can have a beautiful sacred rose ceremony. We do this in honor of, you know, I grew up in a Catholic school, so, you know, I had to go to Mass every single Sunday, and we had palms on Palm Sunday. So I wanted to have something that was symbolic and beautiful. So I thought the rose ceremony, which I do at the weddings that I do, would be appropriate, and we do it every year. So because we have something very beautiful to do, I want to keep this as short as possible, so I try not to ramble on. It was Palm Sunday, and the family's 6-year-old had to stay home from church because he had strep throat. When the rest of the family returned home carrying palm branches, the little boy asked what that was all about. And his mother explained. Jesus held the people held these palms over Jesus as he walked by. And wouldn't you know it, the 6-year-old said, the one Sunday I don't go to church and Jesus shows up. So back to the luck thing, which we don't really believe in luck, but anyway, we're going to use luck. And we use luck. We've been using it for the whole month of March, which I thought was a really great series, as kind of like negative and positive. Unlucky being like the negative part of it, and if you want to do negative and positive, which I'm not a lover of, but luck is something I don't believe in. Conscious decision is something I believe in. So we're going to conclude that whole series by looking at a key ingredient that will pull our highest good. And we all want to experience our highest good, do we not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to pull it to us. Yeah. We don't want to be chasing our highest good. We want it to come to us easily and effortlessly, we like to say.
Oh, yeah.
So let's dive right in right now to the luscious filling of that sandwich. That talk today. So each week in March, we have taken one of the 4 luck factors. And it was part of a 10-year study done by Richard Wiseman in a book that he wrote, The Luck Factor. And there's 4 simple principles that will change your life and your luck, if you will. And of course we have settled, and when I say luck, it's always like this, luck. Okay, with air quotations. Of course, we've said all along, and we'll continue to say it, that luck has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's like we were basing it on the Tina Turner song. Yeah. What's luck got to do with it? It's got nothing to do with it, really. But we believe it does, and in that belief, we're giving faith to something. So what are you giving faith to? That's what we're going to find out. What we know is, and this is what we covered, when we expect our good and become the living embodiments of it, when we are grateful for what we already have and seize upon the myriad of opportunities as they present themselves to us, when we choose to see God or the good right in the middle of any challenge, when we do that, when we do all of that, any one or all of them, our lives shift. They truly shift. What shows up in our lives is completely different from when we're consciously not awake, when we're unconscious. Life just happens, and it happens usually to us. And when something happens to us, we are the victim. And we don't like victimhood in Joyful Gathering, so we teach empowerment, how you can take control of your life and live it. Really live these principles that we talk about. And it all happens when we align with the harmony, the divine love, the infinite peace, the eternal plenty, and the immense, immeasurable power of all of which are of the divine, of God, right? And when we're living in harmony with with those principles, really living in harmony, we are utilizing the neutral impersonal law. That's the law of God. Anyone that's been in classes, especially the core classes, know that we study the law. God is love and law. The love is just unconditional. It's the perfect energy. And the law is the doer of all that is. So the law, so you hear it, the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect. These are all spiritual laws. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the law. So we're utilizing this law. It does what's impressed into it. And it comes back into our lives. And it's always saying yes. It's even saying yes to what we don't want. So when we keep thinking about what we don't want, and we keep saying, oh, here's an affirmation, this is what I really want. I am absolutely an abundant heir to the kingdom of God. And then we come back here, but I really don't have anything in my life. I don't know when I'm gonna. This is what? This one with the emotion to it is what we are manifesting. And that's what shows up in our lives. So what's luck got to do with it? Nada, zippo, zilch, nothing, nothing at all, nothing. It's all about how we get ourselves consciously aligned with our good, which is internal. It's internal, it's within each and every one of us. It's external because it's all that is, but it's within us. That infinite good of God is within us. So our fourth luck factor that we're going to jump into real quickly today is no exception. No exception. And I've said it, lucky people listen to their hunches. Those gut messages that we get, right? Lucky people listen to their hunches. And we might say that a different way, where lucky people follow their intuition. We follow that intuitive voice. And where does the intuition come from? It's the voice of the divine within us. It is God's voice. And once you get in touch with that and you keep following that, only good has ever taken place in my life. Any decision I make now, I make from that intuitive self. And it has never not served me wonderfully. It has never not served me. That's a double negative. But it's never produced anything that was horrible in my life. My conscious choosing, my ego mind might pull things to me that are not pleasing, as all of us. So we choose, we listen, and we got to learn to listen. I'm going to give us a couple of tools on how to learn to listen to that. So Ernest Holmes writes this in his book. Dr. Ernest Holmes is the founder of religious science, and he writes this: intuition is God in us, revealing to us the realities of being. And just as instinct guides the animal, so would intuition guide us, if we would allow it to do so. Lots of times we're getting these messages, and we don't follow them. We don't take the action. Lucky people allow it to do so. They allow it to come forth within them and then follow the guidance, the intuitive guidance as it comes. So from the luck factor, which is Richard Wiseman's book, he writes this: when I asked lucky and unlucky people what was behind their success and successful and unsuccessful decisions, they had a very little idea how to explain their consistent good luck. Lucky people said they simply knew when a decision was right. In contrast, unlucky people, he did a 10-year study on this, it's really great. Unlucky people view many of their poor choices, he writes, as yet more evidence of how they were always destined to fail. I undertook research to discover why lucky people's decisions led them to so much more success and happiness than those of unlucky people. The results were to show the remarkable ability of our unconscious minds. Remember the unconscious mind? That's the part of us that holds every memory, it holds every belief, it holds everything. So when our conscious mind is thinking, it can trigger one of those unconscious beliefs to come up. And a lot of them have ugly heads, so hence comes rear their ugly heads come up into our lives. But this is all good when they come up. When we learn how to deal with it as they come up, we can embrace them and learn from them and then move forward. Take the decision, the decisive action. So, according to the research that Wiseman wrote about, there are two factors behind lucky people. One is listening to their hunches, and that can't truly be overstressed. Lucky people listen to and follow their gut feelings and hunches. So it's more than just listening to. You can listen to your intuition all night long, but if you don't take any kind of action to follow up on it, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. You know, there's a biblical quote about the man on top of the house when the rivers rose, and, you know, God sent he prayed and prayed, and God sent the boat, he sent a helicopter, he sent all kinds of, but the person stayed on the roof clinging for their life. And when he did go into, I guess, the kingdom of heaven, wherever that is, but when he did die, it was like, why didn't you help me when I prayed? And I sent you God said, I sent you 3 ways of saving yourself. You did not take one. So how many ways have been coming to us that we have not taken? We have not taken. Maybe we did not feel safe. Maybe we didn't believe it actually could happen. These are all things that the ego mind plays on us. So we're going to step out with that intuitive voice, that intuition within us that will guide us to the correct and absolute perfect outcome, and it never fails. When I say the universe always has our back, I really mean that. When you step out into the unknown is when you prove it to yourself. And proving it to yourself is the ultimate lesson. You never forget it. You know the stuff I'm talking about really works. But you have to trust. You have to trust. So, I love this thought on intuition from someone who did some life-saving work in the science, in the fields of medical science. That's a good one. It is always with excitement that I wake up in the morning wondering what my intuition will toss to me today. Like gifts from the sea, I will work with it and rely on it. It is my partner. And who is this great man of science? Jonas Salk. He actually said that. He listened, and all the great thinkers, when you think about it, really listened to the intuitive voice. They came up with things like Henry Ford that saw the automobile the way he wanted it built, and every engineer told him it can't be done. He said, yes, it can. I've seen it in my mind. So that's intuition right there at work. Intuition. So, and of course we know that Jonas Salk is one of the most successful, he created one of the most successful polio vaccines, and so the world owes his intuition and willingness to follow it a great debt. Not that I'm a proponent of vaccines, I feel like I have to put a disclaimer there, but that one was actually very valuable. So lucky people listen to and follow their intuition. The second factor in Weissman's research uncovered is that they also take steps to boost their intuition. You might not be even know what it is within you. You might not have ever thought about your intuition, but it is there, and there's ways of accessing it. In the research that Weissman presented a variety of techniques purported to enhance intuition, to see if they were in fact effective. And each of them did enhance intuition, one dramatically so. So they are finding a quiet place to think. That would be the same as our spiritual practices, contemplation. To sit and just be, to contemplate, to allow, to just be. Next one is some technique to clear the mind, whether it's breath work, whether it's meditation, to clear the mind. Breath work is phenomenal for clearing the mind. And then returning to the challenge later on. Don't have to act on it right away. Get centered, get aligned, and then you come up with a different answer most of the time. But one of the techniques that most statistically was dramatic was meditation. Meditation, not specifically on a question or an issue. That's contemplation. If you bring a really good reading quote into any kind of silence with you, a lot of the times that is contemplation. Meditation is when you just sit there, however you meditate, and allow the infinite to flow through you. Get a relationship with the higher power that is everywhere and is most importantly within you. So that connection is the alignment of us with Source. And here's a way I discovered in all of my years of informal research as a spiritual leader, as a minister, and it is directly related to the idea of listening to and following our intuitive hits. Those hits that come to us, sometimes they feel like, and I love when someone says, it came out of the blue. That means they came directly from God. That's what that means. So following those intuitive hits as they come through and trusting them, stepping out of the comfort zone of the known into that infinite potential that lies in the unknown. We don't know it. It lies there if we don't take that step and we don't trust. And if we act on those intuitive hits, it gets stronger and clearer. The more we listen to our intuition, the stronger it becomes. And then it becomes, like with myself, once I get my human ego out of the way, it becomes a natural process. It becomes a place where I can turn internally and feel what I'm supposed to learn and feel any information that needs to come forth. And it's not coming forth from just my head. Head is ego. It's coming from my heart, which is love. It's coming from my gut, which is where the intuition lies. The more you get in touch with your gut and your heart, the stronger your decisions and the clearer your decisions will be. That I absolutely, there's scientific research based on that. Read heart math, read a lot of different modalities on that. But the mind is not as intelligent as the heart and the gut, the whole solar plex area. That's something to really remember. So I listened to those two. Those two aligned. So we listen to it, and we never need to push our luck, because because that which serves and supports, that which uplifts and empowers, that which prospers and enlivens us is simply pulled to us. Things manifest in our lives ways that we could never have planned. And again, I go back to, it's up to us to know the what we want in our lives, and let the universal law take care of how it gets done, because it will get done. It's imprinted into the law, which gives back what it receives. And when we listen to and hone that skill of really connecting with that divinity within us, everything is so much clearer and easier. But again, it's a process of trust. In the early 2006, Wiseman captured his long study of lucky people with a creation, I love this, called the Luck School. Wouldn't you enroll in the Luck School? So he gives the people that consider themselves, because there are people in this world who consider themselves unlucky. I've known some. You know, what was it? If I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all? I mean, there's all those quotes. I'm like, really? Under what cloud do you live? You know? So, again, he created the Luck School. It's cool. And what he did was he taught them what he learned from the lucky people. And we went through them for the whole month. Expect their good to come into their lives. Really expect only good to unfold in your life. Maximize what you already have. And through that vibration of appreciation, the opportunities continues. They continuously come into your life. Opportunity after opportunity. He taught them to turn their bad luck into good. And the last one is to listen to their intuition. To get in touch with it, to know that there is not just this mind that's filled with thoughts, and it's very useful. I mean, you know, it tells us when to cross the street, it tells us, you know, don't cross in a red light, you know, unless you're in Manhattan and there's no cars coming, then you can go. But other than that, it teaches us survival techniques. But that intuitive voice within us is the most powerful thing that we have. And he reported a mere month later, after studying all of these people and teaching them how to implement these different techniques into their lives, how 80% of these unlucky people in his school were happier and luckier, because they were viewing life without that cloud above their head. They were viewing life more with their intuition, with the expectation of good, the expectation of healing. It's how I healed my spine. I expected to heal. How are you? Even though I'm walking like this. It was, I'm healing right here, right now. I'm healing. And all the different modalities to heal were presented to me. My partner over here in spinal healing. Yes, we just continue to heal because we expect it. We expect it. And might you spend the whole month of April, use this stuff, enrolling in your own luck school and seeing how these simple principles, I'm making this brief for today, these simple factors, how they really change not only your luck, but they change your life. They change the way you show up. They change your decisions. They change every aspect, because we're always a choice. Choose the highest and best. Choose that which serves you. Choose in alignment. That's why it's important to get in touch with the divine within us and choose from that place of stability, that place of peace. And most definitely, I can guarantee your life will most certainly change, because it has to. Unless you are already in alignment, then keep on expanding that alignment. But it's time to give up the cloud. It's time to give up being unlucky. It's time to give up being a victim. And it's now time, really, to step into our power. And for the rest of April, we're going to be really talking about our brilliance and the 4 C's of a diamond. We did cut last week, which I thought was really great. That was a good talk, I thought. It was kind of long, but I had listened to it once before I put it up on YouTube. They're all on YouTube under my name, by the way. So that was our cut. Then we got clarity and color and carrot. So that's going to be following for the rest of April. But for now, that's what I have for you. Thank you.